Tales from the Borderlands has without a doubt been one of the best entries in Telltale's lineup, successfully marrying great characters, action and drama with Borderlands' comical sense of humour. So I'm stoked to be able to report that Tales from the Borderlands goes out on an incredibly high point, with the final episode also being the best episode of the series. At the end of episode 4, our cast of anti-heroes were in a very bad situation after being caught on Helios. So obviously a lot of this episode is set around their escape, but despite all the action, the strongest parts of this episode are the smaller conflicts. In particular, Reese trying to fight off Handsome Jack, who's embedded himself in Reese's cybernetic body parts. This leads to some great scenes where we get more background on Jack, and even start to empathise with him, which is unbelievable, as more often than not, Jack is played up as comically sinister. I don't want to go into much of the story, because I certainly don't want to ruin anything for people who haven't played episode 5 yet, but know that episode 5 has one of the best scripts to ever come out of Telltale. Particularly, interactions between Reese and Fiona are still a really high point. These two characters have great chemistry and bounce off each other remarkably well. There are also some huge twists in episode 5, some of which will leave you with drastically different feelings about certain characters. Some characters I resented suddenly became some of my best allies. And if you're a big Borderlands fan, you can once again look forward to seeing some familiar faces. Some of the events in Tales from the Borderlands also seem like they could have an impact on the core Borderlands games, so we can only hope that when Borderlands 3 rolls around, it ties into Tales from the Borderlands. In particular, I really hope we get to see some of the characters cross over. And without ruining anything, I can tell you that Tales from the Borderlands really goes out with a bang, thanks to some huge action set pieces. The only thing that is still amiss with Tales from the Borderlands is the combat. Most of the combat still comes down to the same tired QuickTime events we're used to, with the exception of one scene which really mixes up the combat thanks to switching the combat to Street Fighter-like combos, which is a really smart move that gels very well with Borderlands' sense of humour. Episode 5 of Tales from the Borderlands is the best yet, and now all we can do is hope that this is a Walking Dead situation where we'll see another season in the near future. I'm giving Tales from the Borderlands episode 5 a 9. If you enjoy my reviews, please like and subscribe, or follow me on Twitter @ChrisFremo.